Is private label officially dead on Amazon in 2018? Are we saying rest in peace to the private label business model once and for all? To get the answer to that question, you are going to have to watch this video through till the end, but I promise you, I will give you the answer to that question. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Larry, aka Watch Me Amazon, and I wanted to make this video talking about the current state of the private label business model on Amazon as it stands as of today, the end of June 2018. And the reason that I wanted to make this video is private label is probably the most popular Amazon business model, I mean, as far as you guys are concerned, and a huge portion of my following does or did private label, and I know you guys probably see ads every single day from, different Amazon gurus claiming how great private label is, and they're all trying to sell you courses. Most of these guys are frauds, by the way, so don't fall for it. But the private label business really has undergone a complete transformation in the last year. So I wanted to put this video out to give you a real, no fluff, no bullshit, watch me Amazon type breakdown of the state of private label and hopefully provide you with the info that you need to not lose your shirt or make a huge mistake with your money. So let me start by saying this. For the longest time, the private label business model has been presented as like the best, the easiest business model for Amazon sellers to build a nice business for themselves. And for the most part, that was definitely the case. The game plan was pretty simple. You find cheap, easily made, generic products, decent demand, not a ton of competition, slap your own brand on it, get some under-the-table reviews to support your launch, do some simple marketing, and start selling. That was it. Other than that method, there have always been private label sellers who, took the business to the next level and really invested the time and money into the real brand building approach. But for the most part, the business was typically, always been about cheap, generic products, a little bit of marketing, a little bit of Amazon manipulation. And since most of these products were manufactured in China, and you can have your manufacturer send your products directly to Amazon's FBA program, where Amazon, handles all of the customer service and stuff like that. It really was a business model that someone could run from home in their kitchen on a laptop, without touching any inventory or really doing too much work. However, there have been a number of changes to the private label landscape over the last year that is really making it harder than ever to launch a new product or a new brand in this business and treat it as the same low investment, low work, high reward type of thing we've come to know it as. You have everything from competition being higher than ever and a lot of categories being completely oversaturated. You have Chinese manufacturers now trying to sell everything themselves, which is causing profit margins to shrink and, making it much harder to find products. You have competing sellers using more dirty, backhanded tricks than ever before. And you have Amazon completely changing the feedback system, which has totally changed the way everyone launches their products. So I wanted to make this video to discuss some of these major changes, which again can hopefully give you a more realistic view into the state of things and will ultimately help you work smarter and prevent you from losing money. So the first and probably the most important thing that I want to discuss is all the major changes Amazon has made to the review system over the last year, with the latest changes coming as recently as just 2 weeks ago. Now, reviews, as you know, are crucial to the private label business and to launching private label products. And there are two reasons why they're so important. For starters, they let potential customers see the quality of products that they're buying. No one wants to buy a poorly reviewed product. And two, reviews play a major part in the Amazon algorithm, which kind of affects how your product is ranked. Products that have a better overall review profile will rank a lot higher than products that have worse review scores or products that have little to no reviews at all. So in the past, the way it would work is when you're launching a product, you need to come right out of the gate right away with as many positive reviews as possible to support your product launch. So people would do giveaways, they would have friends and family leave reviews, they would join Facebook communities to get reviews, they would offer incentivized reviews, all these little tricks to get as much product reviews as possible to help get their product ranked. Now, last year, Amazon completely did away with the whole incentivized review thing. They basically made it illegal to offer something in exchange for a positive review. So last year, that made things a lot harder. And now, over the last month, Amazon has been detecting and deleting reviews en masse, completely crippling a lot of people's listings. They are basically what they're doing is they're trying to ensure that all reviews are authentic and verified and genuine. And another reason why it is so important to get positive reviews is to keep your product's rating above 4 stars. So, when your product falls below 4 stars, it takes a major hit on the Amazon algorithm and your product starts to drop in the ranks. Now, bad reviews are always part of the business, but when you're mainly dealing in crappy, cheap Chinese products, you're going to get, more bad reviews than average. And in the past, that was okay because you can just game the system, get more reviews, get fake reviews, pay for reviews, whatever it is. And if you got the occasional 1-star review, you just balance it out with, 10 or 25-star reviews and your feedback score stays high. But now what happens is you get a few negative reviews and your organic positive reviews are not going to be enough to outweigh them. Your product drops below 4 stars. And then that's when it starts to get really, really tough. And so many private label gurus just don't address the issue. They don't talk about the issue because they either don't have the answer for it or they're just lying to you guys. In my experience, I personally know multiple 7- and 8-figure private label sellers who are having a tremendously tough time launching products right now because of this. And these quote unquote gurus are all giving out bad information, telling you about inserts, directing you to their website, offering you free stuff, friends and family. None of that stuff works. And what's worse is it's mostly all against Amazon rules. And I know major accounts that have been suspended for doing the things that the latest and greatest private label gurus are recommending. Now, the latest change to Amazon's review system just happened within the last 2 weeks, and let me explain to you how it works. What I basically think Amazon is doing, they're taking a look at regular brand name products, not private label products, but like regular branded established products, and seeing the ratio in which these products are getting natural organic reviews. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you take a regular brand name moisturizer, like an Aveeno moisturizer, an Aveeno branded product or something like that. And let's say that product averages, on average, 1 review for every 100 sales. Now that's just an example. I don't know what the actual numbers are, but let's just say Amazon sees that a similar product is averaging 1 review for every 100 sales. Now, let's say you launch a product and you use, the old school friends and family approach. And on your first 100 sales, you get 10 reviews or 20 reviews. Amazon's algorithm is gonna pick that up as not normal. They're gonna possibly delete those reviews. And what's worse is you stand a chance of having your listing or your entire Amazon account blocked. And I'll give you guys some real world examples happening now. I know giant private label accounts that have launched products before, in the heyday, products that have thousands of reviews, products that do thousands of sales, not weekly, not monthly, but thousands of sales daily. And because these products are more or less trash, they get some bad reviews, right? But these companies would balance out the bad reviews with a massive influx of all these fake positive reviews, and their scores would stay high, and their products would stay selling, up the ranked very well. But just following some of these big brands over the last year, you can really see how these changes have affected them. And I'll give you an example of one that comes to mind. There's a company called Pure Body Naturals, for example. They are one of the largest private label companies in the health and beauty space. I have been watching this brand closely for almost 2 years now, and at one point, this company was doing upwards of 10,000 feedbacks per month. Now they're down in the hundreds. Other companies in the space like Rada Beauty, Insta Naturals, OZ Naturals, these guys have all seen their sales decline by anywhere from 20 to 40%. And in the next year, I honestly only see that situation getting worse. Also, after speaking to Amazon, they explained to me that they weigh 1 negative review more or higher than 1 positive review. So what I mean is a negative review holds more weight in Amazon's eyes than a positive review. So if you're getting negative reviews, you need, if you get 1 negative review, you need much more than 1 positive review to balance them out. And the last review example that I want to give you is, let's say you launch a product, and let's say in the beginning you use again that friends and family approach, and let's just say that your reviews, for the sake of this example, let's say your reviews don't get wiped out. So you launch, you get 10, 20, even 50 reviews from all your friends, from all your family, but then what? Then it's all organic. When you exhausted your friends, it's all organic. And then if you get a few negative reviews and you're not getting enough positive reviews organically, your product will fall below 4 stars, and then your product is on the way out. And I didn't even yet in this video begin talking about competing sellers messing with you and purposely leaving you bad reviews on your listing. But I'll get to that. Overall, as a private label seller trying to launch a new product, you have right now very limited options to get reviews. Amazon has their own program like the Early Reviewer program and Amazon Vine, but those aren't the best. They aren't the cheapest. You can only get like 5 reviews with them. And, I think in the future, the sellers who succeed will have to adapt, get more creative, and figure out a better strategy, build a brand, build a following. optimize listings better, and really focus on getting a word of mouth interest for your products. And because of this major review, crackdown by Amazon, a lot of the sellers who use black hat tactics are also getting more creative and much more ruthless against the competition. And more good sellers are finding themselves on the receiving end of vicious attacks from some of these scumbags, which brings me to my next point about private label, and that is dirty tricks and dirty sellers that are completely getting out of hand. So with the increase in competition, the saturation of products, with Amazon cracking down on tactics that people have relied on in the past, the bad sellers on the platform, the guys who are willing to break the rules, are showing no signs of letting up. In my opinion, they're actually getting worse and they're getting dirtier than ever. Trying to fight back against these attacks is in some cases becoming, a daily job for some private label sellers. And these scumbags keep coming up with new ways to attack their competition. Now, if you do get attacked, a lot of times what can happen is you get, policy violations or warnings from Amazon. Your listings can get suspended. Worst case scenario, your entire Amazon account can get suspended. And if you do get suspended, your cash flow stops, which obviously sucks. And by the time you get your account back up and running, sometimes your product is dead in terms of where it was ranked before. Sometimes your competitors have jumped ahead of you now in the ranks because you were suspended and you lose your place. And sometimes you come back and you find hijackers on your listings. On top of that, some sellers don't come back at all and never recover from these attacks. So, let's take a look at the most common stuff that can happen, the most common attacks that go down in the marketplace. So probably the most common thing that happens is listing hijacking. And listing hijacking is basically when someone, hops on your listing and changes the crucial details of your listing in an effort to basically sabotage you or to direct people, sometimes to their own listing or something like that. The second attack that I see a lot is review manipulation. And this can happen in a bunch of different ways, but the most common is a competitor, either themselves or sometimes these guys hire an agency and pay an agency to leave negative reviews either on your product or, on your actual store. And this isn't always easy to detect, or it's not easy sometimes to prove, because a lot of times they'll use real people and real accounts to leave these reviews. And the third most common attack is false claims. So these can be, false infringement claims, false safety claims, high volume returns, regular returns, and a lot of other things like that, which can screw up your relationship with Amazon and potentially lead to a suspension. And, there's not so much you can do to outright prevent these attacks, but you can stay super aware and respond very quickly to them. So my advice would be, keep an eye on all of your listings, your orders, your returns, and just report, any suspicious stuff that you see to Amazon right away. So that's for now already two major issues with private label: reviews and scummy sellers. What else? The next issue is honestly just how saturated and how under attack the business is from Chinese sellers. And I actually think this is one of the greatest challenges for private label sellers right now. In the past, it really wasn't much of an issue. We would typically buy products from Chinese manufacturers, and those manufacturers didn't really have a interest in selling on Amazon. But in the last few years, these same Chinese suppliers have seen the type of success that, us Western customers are having and the type of profits that we're making off of their production and manufacturing capabilities. So they started creating their own private label brands and competing very aggressively on Amazon. I actually asked one of my friends who's been doing private label for a very long time, and he said that like 5 years ago, he didn't even have one, mainland Chinese supplier as a competitor, but that right now they're pretty much the main competition in every single one of his categories. And, since these Chinese sellers are oftentimes the actual factory owners, they can make products in volume, they can do it with short lead time, they can do it for very, very cheap costs. So that has pretty much driven down prices and, caused profit margins to just shrink lower and lower and lower. It is very hard for a Western, American, European business to compete on Amazon against the same company that is actually making their products for them. And, because of how popular private label is, this has caused a crazy amount of competition and crazy amount of oversaturation on Amazon. I look at categories like home and kitchen, and I just see tons of the exact same products from both US local sellers and Chinese factories, the same exact stuff. And, a category like home and kitchen, which used to be pretty good, is now very difficult for you to find something to profit from in. And unfortunately, I think many other categories are heading in that same direction. But I don't want to give you all bad news. It's not all bad news. There are, always in business, you can stay clever, and there are certain things that you can do to stand apart, to be different from Chinese competition. You could, one of the things that my friend does, you could, for example, source products locally and present them as a made in the USA product and, play on the heartstrings and the patriotism of your customers. You can focus on things that the Chinese might not be that good at, like finding products in a niche that they don't, necessarily understand or cater to. You could really focus on setting your marketing and branding apart. You can focus on, better product descriptions. You can put focus on, customer support or technical support, which are two things that Chinese suppliers don't do really well. There are, a bunch of things that you could do to stand out of the pack. But again, like in any real business, it's no longer a walk in the park. And another thing I want to mention is, quality. Typically Chinese manufacturers deal with crappy to low end to mid end quality type of products. And it is usually in those categories that you have the most amount of competition, but sellers who maybe choose to go after maybe a more higher end product, a more expensive to produce product. Those products typically have higher margins. Those sellers may exploit a segment of the market that might have a little less Chinese competition. But, just remember, guys, it is very, very important not to underestimate Chinese sellers. Many people have it in their heads that, they can only produce junk, but that's just really not the case. For many categories, for many products, factories in China could make, pretty kick-ass, high-quality stuff. So it's important to always stay one step ahead, think creatively, and, like I said, find ideas that set you apart. So the next thing that I want to talk about is PPC or pay-per-click. So in the past, as I mentioned, the key for launching products was incentivized reviews, but alongside that, the other major key was PPC ads. Those were pretty much the methods that sellers would rely on to launch their products and, boost rank and boost visibility on Amazon and all that stuff. And now with incentivized reviews banned, PPC ads are becoming more popular today than they ever were before. And my point is, what that means is they are much more competitive and much more expensive than they used to be. I remember I saw a video on YouTube not too long ago, and I'll try to find it and I'll, post it to my YouTube or I'll link it to my Instagram or whatever. But it basically showed just how expensive these ads are becoming compared to what they used to cost. Some prices for PPC ads I saw have more than doubled, tripled, quadrupled over the last couple of years. And again, just like before, this is probably going to continue to get worse. So, my advice would be, don't just focus on throwing more money into these ads. Instead, focus on making your ads super relevant. Focus on relevant keywords in your product titles. Focus on relevant keywords in your descriptions. Pay-per-click ads, from what I understand now, should be bought with a great deal of strategy behind them. You no longer can just, put money into it and pay your way to the top. So far, guys, in this video, we covered the feedback problem. We covered the scumbag shit seller problem, pardon my French, the Chinese competition problem, and the rising cost of Amazon ads. The last thing affecting the private label business that I want to talk about is the need for more work and, more importantly, more money needed to properly succeed in this business model. So, in my opinion, most private label sellers can no longer succeed by simply throwing, a label on a generic Chinese product and pushing the product with reviews and ads. A lot more time, money, work is required just to find a good product and then find a good factory to make it for you. So to me, what this means is private label is just becoming more like other real businesses, which actually require people to roll up their sleeves and put in tons of hard work to determine how successful they become. It's not the wild, wild west free-for-all that it was 2-3 years ago. And, to give you another real-world example, take a look at how important trademarks are now for private label companies. If you go back 4 or 5 years ago, sellers barely even thought or spoke about trademarking or, registering their brands with Amazon. And now you need a trademark before you can even get brand registered. And for the brand new seller to the business, someone who's just starting out, applying for a trademark isn't the simplest or the cheapest or the fastest process someone can do. The gist of it basically is the super simple, anyone can do it, very little work or money required sales pitch for private label just doesn't apply to the realistic, hard work required, build a real business private label landscape of today. Things are always changing for private label sellers. To be honest, things are always changing for all Amazon sellers. Things are always getting harder in this business. I am a wholesale seller, and I'm not just making this video to bash private label sellers. Believe me, a wholesale is no walk in the park. And wholesale is not without its own unique problems and issues either. But anyone who has followed me for a while knows that I always preach that building a real $1 million business on Amazon is not all fun and games. So the people that got into private label being taught that it was an anyone can do it, super simple, 4-hour work week on your laptop type of business are having a reality check right now, having to legitimize, to change, to adapt, and having to work hard to survive in this business in 2018. And to survive in this business, and more importantly, be successful and make money in this business. And believe me, I still think you can make a lot of money in private label, but you have to change and start thinking like a real brand. You know, gone are the days of people just launching products. If you want to be successful in 2018 and beyond, you need to start thinking like the larger, more established brands out there. You need to focus now more than ever on brand building and not just, product launching. You need to have maybe an older fashioned, real brand building approach to advertising, to marketing, to social media, word of mouth, quality, budgeting, all that stuff that separates a real brand from someone just selling products is what you need to do now to survive in private label. So to close the show, as far as I'm concerned, private label as we know it, as I know it, as you guys know it, is in fact dead. It is official. Rest in peace, old school private label. Rest in peace, any guru who does not adapt to the new landscape. Rest in peace, any seller who does not adapt to the new landscape. And just know it is possible to make a lot of money private labeling on Amazon, but I'm just telling you the way to do it from now on is to build a real brand without relying on the shortcuts that people have used in the past. So take your time, play the long game, raise your standards, guys, and build a very strong brand with unique and high quality products that people want. That's the way to do it. So that is it for me, guys. That is my State of the Union address for private label on Amazon in 2018. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are in this video. I know it's going to be a controversial video, so let me know below. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know what you think. Tell me I'm right. Tell me to piss off. And also, for more Amazon content like this, be sure to subscribe to this channel. Be sure to hit that like button. Follow me on Instagram at Watch Me Amazon for a behind the scenes look at my business. As you can see, Watch Me Amazon on Instagram. Follow me on Facebook. I'm now on Facebook. Also at Watch Me Amazon on Facebook. And lastly, to continue the conversation, I have created a free Facebook group dedicated specifically to the wholesale side of the business. The wholesale business is what I do and love on Amazon, and the new Facebook group that we started has just been crazy, guys. There are thousands of like-minded Amazon sellers in there having, super helpful conversations about the business, and everyone is just helping each other out. So it's been great. Check that out. It's absolutely free to join. I'll post a link in the description below under this video. And lastly, onwards and upwards, my friends. It is 2018 and Amazon is an incredible business opportunity. All you have to do is be willing to put in the work and step your game up. Peace out, everyone. Love you. Bye. Till the next video. Peace.
We don't take no